Long before England was one united country, many small groups of people lived on the island of Britain. After the Romans left Britain around 410 AD, new people came to live there. These people were called the Anglo-Saxons. They came from Germany and Scandinavia. They were strong warriors and farmers. The Anglo-Saxons did not arrive all at once. They came slowly over many years. Gradually, they built new towns and villages. They created their own kingdoms. At first, there were many small kingdoms fighting each other for power and land. These kingdoms had different names like Wessex, Mercia, and Northumbria. Each kingdom had its own king and army. Life in Anglo-Saxon England was hard. Most people were farmers. They worked on the land from sunrise to sunset. They grew wheat and vegetables. They also kept animals like cows and sheep. People lived in simple houses made from wood and mud. There was no electricity or running water. In the 600s, Christian missionaries came to England. They taught people about Christianity. Slowly, people stopped believing in the old pagan gods. They built churches and monasteries across the country. Monks lived in these monasteries. They studied books, wrote new books, and prayed. They also taught children and helped sick people. Around 787 AD, Vikings started attacking England. These Vikings were warriors from Scandinavia. They came in ships and attacked villages. They stole gold, food, and other treasures. The Anglo-Saxon people were very afraid. Many battles happened between the Anglo-Saxons and the Vikings. These attacks continued for many years. By the 900s, a great king named Alfred the Great became very powerful. He fought the Vikings and protected his kingdom. Finally, all the small Anglo-Saxon kingdoms united into one big country called England. This was very important because now England had one king instead of many kings. The Anglo-Saxon period lasted about 600 years. It was the beginning of the England we know today. In 1066, something very important happened in England. A man named William came from Normandy, which is in France. William was a strong duke, which means he was a powerful nobleman. He wanted to be the king of England. The king of England was a man named Harold Godwin's son. When the old king, Edward the Confessor, died, Harold became king. But William said that Edward had promised a throne to him. William was very angry. He decided to fight for the kingdom. William brought soldiers and sailed across the sea from France. He had about 4,000 to 7,000 soldiers. They arrived in the south of England in September 1066. Harold heard about this invasion. He gathered his soldiers to fight William. The two armies met on October 14th, 1066. This battle is called the Battle of Hastings. It was a very big and long battle. It lasted almost a whole day from morning until sunset. The English soldiers made a wall with their shields to protect themselves. The Norman soldiers used horses and arrows to fight. Harold was a good fighter, but he was not lucky. During the battle, an arrow hit him in the eye. Harold fell to the ground and died. When the English soldiers saw their king was dead, they lost hope. They stopped fighting. William won the battle. After the battle, William became the King of England. He is called William the Conqueror. He changed many things in England. He brought Norman and French people to England. They took the best jobs in land. The old Anglo-Saxon leaders lost their power. The Normans built many strong castles across England. They built them from stone to show their power. They also changed the language. French words mixed with English words. This made the English language different from before. The Norman conquest was very important. It changed England forever. After the Normans took over England, many years passed. In 1154, a new family called the Plantagenets became the rulers of England. The first Plantagenet king was Henry II. He was a very powerful king. He ruled not just England, but also large areas of France. Henry II made many new laws. He wanted to make England stronger. He built courts where judges decided who was right or wrong in arguments. Before this, kings made all the decisions. These new courts helped make England more fair and organized. One problem in Henry II's time was the church. The king wanted power over the church, but the Pope wanted power over the church. The Pope is the leader of the Catholic Church. There was a famous man called Thomas Becket. He was the archbishop, which means he was a top church leader. Becket and Henry II fought about who had more power. Sadly, Becket was killed in the church. This made people very upset. Later, a king named John became very unpopular. People did not like him because he was not a good king. He took too much money from people. He also lost lands in France. The nobles were very angry. They made the king sign a paper called the Magna Carta in 1215. The Magna Carta was very important. It said that the king had limits to his power. Even the king had to follow the law. This paper was the beginning of fair government. It protected people's rights and freedom. Another great Plantagenet king was Edward I. He was very strong and won many battles. He tried to conquer Wales and Scotland. He built strong castles in Wales. Under Edward I, England became more powerful and more organized. The Plantagenet kings ruled for about 300 years. During this time, England became stronger. The church built beautiful cathedrals. People created wonderful art and music. These were wonderful times in English history. In the late 1300s, the Plantagenet family had a big problem. There were two main branches of the family. Each branch wanted to be king of England. They fought each other for power. One branch had a red rose as their symbol. The other branch had a white rose as their symbol. So these wars are called the Wars of the Roses. The wars lasted for more than 100 years. Many soldiers died. Many nobles lost their lands and money. The people of England were tired of all this fighting. They wanted peace. They wanted one strong king to make England safe and happy. Finally, A man named Henry Tudor ended the wars. He defeated the last Plantagenet king in a big battle. Then Henry married a princess from the other branch of the family. This marriage united the two families. In 1485, Henry Tudor became king. He started a new family of rulers called the Tudors. Henry VII was a good king. He made peace in England. He made sure people had jobs and trade. He became very rich. He built beautiful palaces and buildings. He made England strong again after all the wars. After Henry VII died, his son became king. His name was Henry VIII. Henry VIII is one of the most famous kings in English history. He was strong and determined. He wanted power and glory. He married 6 times because he wanted a son to be the next king. Henry VIII did something very important. He broke away from the Catholic Church. He wanted to be the head of the church in England instead of the Pope. This caused big changes in England. He closed down monasteries and took their money and land. Henry VIII had a daughter named Elizabeth. She became queen after him. Elizabeth was a great queen. She was smart, strong, and brave. She made England very powerful. Many people loved her. She never married. England had peace and happiness during her time. Queen Elizabeth I became the Queen of England in 1558. She was 25 years old. Her time as queen is called the Elizabethan age. It was a wonderful time for England. People in England today still remember this time as special and golden. Elizabeth was a smart and clever queen. She had red hair and loved beautiful clothes. She wore dresses made from gold and jewels. She was popular with all her people. She never married, but she said she was married to England. She gave all her time and love to her country. During Elizabeth's time, England became very powerful. The country built a strong navy. A navy is an army of ships and sailors. This navy protected England from enemies. England also became rich from trade. Ships sailed all over the world. They brought back treasures and goods to sell. One great danger came in 1588. A big navy from Spain came to attack England. It was called the Spanish Armada. It had 130 ships full of soldiers. The English navy was smaller, but it was better. English sailors were brave and smart. They defeated the Spanish Armada. England won. This made English people very proud. They felt they could beat any enemy. During the Elizabethan age, wonderful things happened in art and writing. A man named William Shakespeare lived in this time. He was the greatest playwright in English history. He wrote wonderful plays about love, war, and adventure. His plays are still very popular today, more than 400 years later. Other great writers and poets also lived in this time. They wrote beautiful poems and stories. Artists painted wonderful pictures. Musicians made beautiful music. This was a time of creativity and happiness. Elizabeth was also very religious. She made sure the Church of England was strong. She protected England from Catholic enemies. She wanted England to be safe and strong and united. When Elizabeth died in 1603, people cried. They loved their queen very much. The Elizabethan age was one of the greatest times in English history. After Elizabeth died, a king named James I became king. He was from Scotland. Then his son Charles I became king. Charles I had many problems. He wanted to have complete power over everything. He did not want to share power with Parliament. Parliament is a group of people who make laws. English people believe that Parliament should have power too. There was a big fight between the king and Parliament about who had more power. Charles I was stubborn. He did not listen to Parliament. He wanted to make his own laws. People became very angry. They said the king was not fair. Finally, war started. It is called the English Civil War. Soldiers from the king's army fought soldiers from Parliament's army. The war lasted for many years. Many people died. Many towns were destroyed. Finally, Parliament won the war. Charles I lost his power. He was taken to trial like a criminal. The trial was famous and shocking. Charles I was found guilty of fighting against his own people. In 1649, Charles I was executed. This means they cut off his head. He died as a prisoner, not as a king. This was a shocking thing. No one had ever killed an English king before. People everywhere were surprised and upset. After Charles died, a man named Oliver Cromwell took control. He was a famous general. He ruled England without a king. He called himself the Lord Protector. England became a republic, which means a country without a king. Cromwell was very strict. He made many rules to control how people lived and what they did. He was a Puritan, which many believed in very strict religious rules. Many people did not like his rules. They missed having a king. Cromwell died in 1658. After he died, people realized they wanted a king again. They wanted the old ways. So in 1660, Charles II, the son of Charles I, came back from hiding in France. He became king again. People were happy to have a king again. In 1660, King Charles II came back to England. People welcomed him with big celebrations. This time is called the Restoration because the monarchy was restored. People were happy and excited to have a king again. Charles II was very different from his father. He was friendly and kind to people. He smiled and talked to ordinary people. He was not angry like his father, Charles I. He promised to work with Parliament instead of fighting with them. During Charles II's time, England became more modern. Scientists started studying how the world works. A man named Isaac Newton discovered how gravity works. Another scientist named Robert Boyle studied chemistry. They wanted to understand nature and the world. A special group called the Royal Society was created. It was a club where smart people met to share ideas about science and nature. These scientists did experiments and wrote books. They changed how people understood the world. During this time, London became bigger and richer. More people moved to London to work and do business. Shops and markets grew. Trade became very important. Ships sailed to Africa, America, and Asia. They brought back goods to sell. England became richer from this trade. Charles II had a son named James. But James had a big problem. He was Catholic. England was Protestant. People were afraid of a Catholic king. They did not want him to be king. Then something called the Glorious Revolution happened in 1688. Parliament brought a new king from Holland. His name was William of Orange. He married Mary, who was also from the royal family. William and Mary became king and queen together. This was important because it showed that Parliament had real power. Parliament could choose a king, not just accept whoever was born a prince. This was a big change. It meant people had a voice in who ruled them. The Restoration and Glorious Revolution were important times. They changed England. They showed that the king could not rule alone. Parliament and people had rights too. In 1714, a new king named George I became ruler of England. George I was from Germany. He was from a family called the Hanoverians. The next kings were George II, George III, and George IV. We call this time the Georgian Age because all these kings had the name George. During the Georgian Age, England became very powerful. It grew bigger and stronger. England had many colonies around the world. A colony is land that belongs to another country. England had colonies in America, India, Africa, and other places. Ships sailed everywhere carrying goods and bringing back treasures. The Navy became the most powerful in the world. English ships protected trade routes. They fought against France and Spain. The Navy made England rich and powerful. English people were very proud of their Navy. During this time, interesting things happened. A man named James Cook was a great explorer. He sailed around the world in his ship. He discovered new lands and made maps. People learned about places they never knew before. In 1776, something sad happened. The American colonies wanted to be free. They did not want to be ruled by England anymore. They started a war against England. After many years of fighting, America became free. This was hard for England, but life went on. In 1793, England fought against France because of a war in France. This was a long and expensive war. It lasted 22 years. But England won. A man named Napoleon from France wanted to take over Europe, but English soldiers and sailors defeated him. The most famous battle was the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. After this victory, England was the most powerful country in the world. The British Navy was strong. British ships controlled the seas. England had the biggest empire. The sun never set on the British Empire because it was so big. During the Georgian Age, cities grew bigger. More people moved to cities to find jobs and business. Roads were built. Trade increased. England was becoming modern. In the 1760s, something amazing started in England. It is called the Industrial Revolution. This changed everything about how people lived and worked. Instead of making things by hand, people started using machines. The first machines were for making cloth. Before, people used simple spindles to make thread. Now big machines can make cloth much faster. Factories were built. These were big buildings full of machines. Workers came to work in factories instead of working at home. Steam engines were invented. Steam is hot water that is turned into gas. The steam could push pistons and make machines work. Steam engines were very powerful. Soon they were used to power trains and ships. Trains could go fast and carry heavy loads. This helped business grow. During the Industrial Revolution, England changed very fast. Cities grew bigger. More factories were built. More workers came to cities looking for jobs. But factory work was hard. Workers stood all day doing the same job. Children worked in factories too. They worked long hours. It was not safe. Many children got hurt. The air in cities was dirty from smoke from factories. In 1837, Queen Victoria became queen. She ruled for 64 years. This time is called the Victorian Age. The Victorian Age was full of wonderful inventions. Electric lights were invented. The telephone was invented. The telegraph was invented. People could send messages very fast. During Victorian times, England was very powerful and rich. The British Empire was huge. Ships and trains moved things around the world. English factories made goods that were sold everywhere. But there were problems too. Poor people lived in dirty, crowded cities. They did not have enough money to buy good food. Diseases spread in crowded towns. But slowly life got better. The Factory Act of 1833 made rules to protect workers. It said children could not work too many hours. By 1900, England was the most powerful country in the world. It had the most machines, the most ships, and the most colonies. The Victorian Age was a time of great change and progress. But the changes came with difficult times too. In the 1900s, England changed again. Queen Victoria died in 1901. Her son, Edward VII, became king. Then George V became king. Then George VI became king. Finally, Elizabeth II became queen in 1952. She ruled for 70 years and was very loved. The 20th century had big wars. The first big war was called World War I. It lasted from 1914 to 1918. Millions of soldiers died. England lost many young men. After the war, England was tired and poor. Then came World War II. It lasted from 1939 to 1945. This was the biggest war ever. Adolf Hitler from Germany tried to take over Europe. England fought against Germany. A man named Winston Churchill was the prime minister. He was very brave and strong. He told English people they could win. The war was terrible and long, but finally, England and its allies won. After World War II, England changed. The empire got smaller. Countries in Asia, Africa, and America wanted to be free. They were no longer colonies of England. Slowly, the big British Empire became smaller, but England stayed strong. In 1947, India became free. In 1957, Ghana became free. Other countries in Africa and Asia also became free. This was natural and right. People wanted to rule themselves, not be ruled by another country. After the wars, the government took care of people better. In 1948, a national health service started. This means doctors and hospitals could help sick people for free or very cheap. The government also built more schools. More children could learn to read and write. Today, England is still a powerful country. London is still a great city. English people have brought wonderful things to the world. The English language is spoken in many countries. English books, music, and movies are popular everywhere. England is now part of the United Kingdom, which also includes Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. The kings and queens change, but English people are proud of their history. England has changed so much from the Anglo-Saxon days to today. It has been quite a journey.